According to Howard Gardner, there are various different styles students use to learn. 7 to be exact. In this video, we will look at these preferred methods students use to process information. The first learning style we can look at is the interpersonal learning style. The word interpersonal means communication between people. Students who thus have an interpersonal learning style usually have excellent communication skills and benefit from interactions with other students. As a teacher, you would thus prefer to have these kinds of students interact with other students using study groups or having students work in pairs. Secondly, we can look at the intrapersonal learning style. Something that is intrapersonal is something that exists within one person. Students who have an intrapersonal learning style thus prefer to learn in solitary, without interruptions and distractions from others. Good teachers would thus take this into consideration and usually allow these kinds of students to study quietly, to set goals for themselves, and allow them to reach these goals on their own. Thirdly, we can look at the kinesthetic learning style. The word kinesthetic relates to movements, and children who have a kinesthetic learning style learn using physical movement and activities. As a teacher, you should thus attempt to provide these students with ample opportunities to walk around, do physical activities, and be hands-on in their learning. The fourth learning style is verbal learning or linguistic learning. Children who use this style of learning like to talk a lot. Verbal learners benefit greatly from the spoken and written word, and teachers should thus attempt to facilitate learning opportunities in which students get to share ideas and have debates with each other or present something in front of their peers. The fifth learning style is visual learning. The word visual relates to something you can see, and students who follow this learning style thus learn best when seeing new information presented to them in visual representations like flowcharts, graphs, or mind maps. These students acquire new information through space and direction, and as a teacher, writing on the board or using pictures will benefit these students tremendously. The sixth learning style students might have, according to Gardner, is known as the logical or mathematical learning style. Logical learners usually find it easy to reason and wants to get from point A to point B in a logical and set manner. They enjoy working on problems and finding solutions to these problems. As a teacher, you should thus attempt to explain information to these students as simply, clearly, and logically as possible by making lists, providing bullet points, and providing learners with the chance to think strategically. Lastly, we can then also look at the auditory learning style. The word auditory relates to the sense of hearing, and students who have an auditory learning style are sometimes even referred to as musical learners. These students benefit the most from sounds, rhymes, and music. Teachers should thus attempt to provide these students with ample opportunity to listen to new information in order to understand it best. Now, every student doesn't necessarily only follow only one of these learning styles. Some might be verbal auditory learners, while others might be intrapersonal logical learners. Every student, however, has his or her own preferred way of learning. For a teacher, it would often be impossible to use all of these methods in a single class. Teachers should, however, take the learning styles into consideration when preparing lessons and try to use different teaching methods, materials, and ideas to facilitate learning for all the students throughout the course of their English classes.